listening to Power Plug Radio, home of your throwback jams.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's Power Plug Radio in the morning. How y'all ladies doing this morning?
Good morning.
Good morning.
What's up, audience and all of our fellow watchers and viewers? How y'all doing this morning? Grand Rising.
What's that?
Listeners, watchers,
Listeners, watchers.
whatever y'all want to be called. Okay.
Then
It's what? It's the middle of the week. It's hump day.
It's hump day.
it's hump day.
I'm glad it's
How
hump
are
day.
y'all doing?
I'm glad it's hump day.
I'm good. I'm glad.
Yes.
I was just so overwhelmed this morning listening to the news about travel this weekend. I'm like, I don't know why people want to be doing all that. Then I was like, wait a minute, you leaving on 4th July? How you gonna be? Oh man, I'm contemplating whether or not I'm going because I don't want to deal with all that drama. Cancel flights and yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
So they canceling left and right.
Yeah, that's what I heard. They said you check your flights before you go to the airport. My flight's at 7 a.m. Ain't nobody got time to be at no airport at 4 a.m. for you to tell me we ain't flying.
Right.
So
All their prep.
So yeah, I was like, okay, that I'm gonna be one of those millions of people. Man.
A lot of people's flights got canceled last night.
Really?
From Miami especially.
Oh, from Miami?
Yeah, I had a client coming in from Miami. And he was supposed to be here at 8, but then his flight got pushed back, to 10, and then it got canceled.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's never a good sign when they push the time back.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because that
They're
means
late.
they can't find a pilot, they can't find flight attendants.
Yeah.
That's usually the telltale sign when they say, "Oh, we're gonna move. The flight's no longer leaving at 8; it's leaving at 10." No, you're trying to find staff.
Right. Oh man.
And yeah, that means it's probably 80%. It's not going anywhere.
Oh no. Well, that's not good. I don't know. What that weather looking like, Paige?
I don't know. Let's see.
Trying to say something.
Outside
It is. I want to say it's like what it normally has been. Yep, 76, and then the high is like 87, and then
Humidity is like
humidity is 90%.
90%.
Precipitation, it's gonna rain a lot between like 3 and 9.
Today.
Yep, 72%. Then it goes to 84. Then it goes to 66%. So what I found out, my random fact, because y'all know I always have random facts. When you see the rain percentage chance, it's not that it's going to be a 30% chance of rain, like it's a chance that it's going to rain at 30%. It's that 30% of the population in that area
Okay.
will get rain.
Yeah, I learned that too. I was like, oh, I just always thought that was the percentage of how, chances that we gonna get rain. So
No, it's
kinda,
like when you ride in different areas of the town. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's raining, sometimes it's not.
yeah.
That's the
And
exactly
that
what that's.
percentage.
That's that right there.
That's that part.
Across
They're
the
in
It's
that
raining.
percentage.
It's raining on your side of town. It's coming
It's
down
not
over
raining
here.
over here. Yeah, exactly.
does that a lot around here.
I
You know what I'm
learned
saying?
that. I learned that too when I first moved here. Like you could literally be across the street and there's rain over there and no rain over here. It's like it's kind of spooky. So
Pretty much. We used to in Alabama. It used to rain across the street.
Yeah, it does that here too. That's what I'm saying.
Like at our house, it wasn't raining, but the neighbor's house it was
it's raining. Yeah.
kind of crazy.
Like how does that work? I mean, the whole sky is open. That's a little different.
yep.
That's that foo-foo.
It is.
She said, I ain't never heard it said that way. It's foo-foo.
It is though. It really is.
Oh, okay. So it's something that you had posted the other day, so I wanted to elaborate on this. So the 76-year-old woman on probation was sent back to prison after missing calls while in a computer class.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Crazy.
Nuts.
That's messed up.
says a 76-year-old woman was sent back to prison because her probation officials couldn't contact her for a few hours. Gwen Levy qualified as one of the 4,500 federal inmates who were released early from prison because of a nationwide effort to release some incarcerated individuals to prevent the spread of COVID-19. But now Levi's back in custody because of a miscommunication with her supervising officials. She was attending a computer processing class in Baltimore's Inner Harbor. During her time in class, it was discovered at 10:51 a.m. that she was not home by tracking done on her ankle monitor. After not responding to calls for a few hours, her monitor revealed that she was back at her mother's house at 1:17. She is now in a Washington, D.C. jail awaiting a transfer to a federal facility. There's no question she was in class, as I was told, because she could have been robbing a bank. They're going to treat her as if she was robbing a bank. That is crazy.
76 now.
But if she's taking training, would she not have let her probation officer to know this is where she's going to be? Because normally they want to know.
They have to let them know. Like they
So where's the ball drop there? Because I'm sure she didn't just randomly take this class knowing that she had to be certain places at certain times without notifying them that, hey, this is a job opportunity.
Because they have to let them know.
So she said, at no time did I think I was supposed to go to that class. I wasn't supposed to go to that class. I apologize to my mother and my family for what this. So she's 76. Her mother's still alive? Goodness.
I'm saying.
It says
Mother got to be, 9 or something?
in 2004, she was charged with conspiracy to sell at least 1 kilogram of heroin. So first of all, she's 76. 2004 was how long ago? She was like in her 60s slinging rock.
Grandma.
Nobody ain't got no pity for no dope.
No, they sure don't.
It says, so then it
She's a drug dealer.
she pled guilty on April 19, 2005 to the drug conspiracy and was sentenced on April 6, 2006. She served 16 years of a 24
16
sentence.
years?
So,
And then you're
see.
going to send her back to jail?
So she went to jail at 60 for selling drugs. She had nothing better to do,
wrong
Grandma.
with your life decisions, ma'am? How you gonna wait till you get old to start? Well, she could have been doing it for a while. We just got caught. She said, "I've been slinging since I was 30. They just 30 years late. I mean, what? Do you just wake up one day and say, okay, I'm gonna sell some
Probably
drugs?
been doing it. But
That's what I'm thinking. It's no way she just woke up, decided
She
to
was
be a
working
dope
towards
dealer.
her retirement plan.
Oh, she was working towards her retirement plan, so she started selling dope. Okay.
well,
Girlfriend said, "Listen, it ain't enough in there. Let me help it out."
when she wasn't saving her early years, so she had to continue.
And then they gonna send her back to jail because she was in class. Okay,
That's messed up. 76.
they gonna have to let her
back.
go because that's like asinine.
so-
That don't even make sense.
I mean, so she's gonna have to serve the remainder.
You let her go because
They
the
gonna
issue,
serve
and
the
then you gonna put her
remainder?
back. Yeah, like what? What that mean?
Y'all,
What?
do y'all remember the Kyle Massey, the actor? He is facing That's So Raven, Corey in the House.
Yeah, the
her
little-
Oh, the
brother.
little weird looking
Her
one
little
with
brother.
the curly
What's
hair.
wrong? What
No,
happened?
she didn't have
Not
curly hair.
him.
He was a chunky little kid. He is facing felony charges for allegedly sending pornographic content to a 13-year-old.
Oh Lord.
And he got to be in his 20s, almost 30s.
Oh wow.
Yeah. You know, it was a couple years ago. They was
Yeah.
his own. You know, they was happening.
Let me look up this man. I probably
They're
don't
fighting.
know.
He's been fighting the case since 2019, and now
Corey
he's
what now?
facing Kyle Massey.
Cow.
Now he's facing a felony charge.
Well, if they got the pictures, it ain't nothing to fight.
Right. Kyle
I'm saying. I'm just saying.
says Kyle was being sued by a 13-year-old girl back in
Betrayal. 2019
who alleges she received a sexually explicit video and photos from him. If y'all recall, the young girl filed the suit for $1.5 million.
So
Numerous
was that like
sexually explicit text messages, images, and videos on Snapchat. Kyle denied the allegations, claiming he was being extorted. TMZ reports the young lady's legal team initially filed the civil suit, but decided to file a report with the sheriff's office after her lawyers reportedly concluded Kyle didn't have enough money to settle the case. Police
Okay, that's a little
reportedly
suspect.
began investigating the case in early I think they mean 2021 because it says 2022 and we're clearly not 2022.
Oh, wow. So who actually wrote this story?
So it says Kyle allegedly met the girl back in 2009.
Well, if he met her in 2009, how old is she now? 13?
Oh, she was just 4 years old. According to legal documents, police received a thumb drive from the girl's mother, which contained the explicit content Kyle allegedly sent when the girl was 13.
But what app is it that you can send stuff and then it's gone?
Well, you can send things via Snapchat, but you can screenshot it. You can screenshot Snapchats.
Yeah, Snapchat will tell you they have screenshots.
Somebody said this story needs a lot of proofreading. I can help with that. I agree.
I know that's right. Like, who wrote that? And 2022. Jesus. Can they see the future? Yeah, somebody. I want to see this thumb drive. Yeah, something ain't right with that story. Was it him?
But I think this is why adults have to be careful befriending children.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, you have to be, especially children of the opposite sex.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be very cognizant about that and what that looks like in the settings that you're in. I mean, she was 4 and he was like, what is it? Was he like dating the mom or, you know, what was
she a fan? Like what 4 years old though?
That's when they first met each other, 4 years old.
So, yeah, that's something ain't right in the Kool-Aid.
4 years old.
Yeah. I don't know what that means.
I need more information.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking this story is a little bit not too sure what's going on there.
We ain't heard from Kyle Massey in a long time.
I'm telling you.
Well, 2019 is when the charges came out, so I imagine he just kind of went under after that.
After that, yeah.
Man, Lord, who knows, child? Bless you.
Bless you.
So
Yeah,
there's some Olympic controversy going on.
I'm
So
surprised.
Gwen, what's her name? What's this girl name? Hold on. Gwen. Yes, she's a hammer thrower. Gwen hammer thrower. Hold on, because I was reading the story yesterday. Okay, Gwen Berry. So she came in 3rd in the Olympic trials. And though they did the little platform thing or whatever, and then they were playing the national anthem, and she turned away.
Oh yeah.
And so now people are saying like she needs to get disqualified. She doesn't need anybody that can't respect the flag. Shouldn't be. And it's not a disrespect of the flag; it's the song.
They always get that so out of context.
So now there's that drama there.
They're trying to say she can't have now she can't keep her win.
Yeah, she got the bronze, right? So they wanted to take it back from her because of that.
Okay.
I mean, but the Olympics has been a place where people have protests for years.
I'm saying, so I don't know why this is a new situation, but okay.
There actually was I don't remember the man's name, but the man, like the famous Olympic picture with the man with the fist. There was a whole
situation with that.
There was whole documentary on that guy and how his whole life was destroyed for that.
It's ridiculous.
It's very interesting.
Speak against that flag, boy.
Did y'all hear about the guy that molested the young girl?
No.
We need more context.
Give us some more.
Where they are, like more context there.
Yeah.
Let me find the story again because I was on it yesterday, but we was having so much fun with Cran.
Oh yeah, that was fun. He was on Bay News 9 that day too.
Was he?
I saw. Yeah, I was when I got to the caddies. Bay News 9 was on, and he was being interviewed.
Cran the man.
I was like, okay, we interviewed him first. No, I'm just joking. But it was fun. It was funny. It's like I know him.
I was just
talking to him. Sitting 2 feet from him.
But I have to find the story again.
Okay.
But the dude was he was in court, and his mom, they were saying, talked about his mom not showing up to the event. I mean, to the court case. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, this one. And the dude, actually, it was a 10-year-old girl, I believe, that he was molesting. And you know, his her mom walked in. I guess the mom walked in on it. And then so
He's still alive?
Right? That's when I'm no, he on trial, but
they put him in jail.
Was he
You know
beat
what
up?
I'm saying? No,
Was he?
no, nothing
Child,
happened to him.
He would have left in the
he
body
would have
bag.
been sliced, diced, everything.
I mean, I'm just.
She was shook.
Yeah, he would. Ain't no shit.
ain't no shooking.
Yeah.
Ain't no.
It's a shock. Okay, you walk in, you like, oh, look, but
Oh no,
reaction.
no. That
My
mother-
initial reaction would be to kill him.
Kill.
Like
That's it.
No,
That's all you hear.
if ands or buts about it.
Yep.
And I would just have to deal with the consequences
Yep,
later.
I
But
just-
that would be
I'm going to
like
jail.
my
I'm going to
initial
jail.
response.
I'm going to jail. That's it. I don't care.
Y'all see red.
That's it.
Yeah, it's so
That's
boring.
it. That's a freaking rap. Trust me. Trust me.
I'm telling you. 'Cause
Trust.
everything go out the
This
window.
man
I
found
don't
his
care.
son being molested by a guy, and because he went out for pizza, left the man at the house with him, with his son, and next thing you know, he come back home. The guy on top of his son,
Oh my God.
he beat the guy senseless.
Oh
There you
yeah,
go.
I remember that.
Okay.
The guy face was disfigured. Like he
Yeah.
looks like like how the airhead people look.
Good.
That's what he should look like.
He had like broken bones in his face and
Yeah.
jaw and
He lucky he had a life.
yeah,
That's all I gotta say.
yeah.
Telling you.
That dude.
I mean, I think that would be my initial
That's the
reaction if
proper
if it
reaction,
happened
right
to me,
there.
like just ready to just. But I need to go get something to kill you. Like,
What-
I'm saying, like, whatever.
What happens to these victims after, and
they have
what
a
safe
long
spaces do these victims have? You know, after these things happen. Think about this, right? Do you know it's about 47% of young girls get molested.
97.
97. That's a lot of trauma.
It's
And then-
97%.
And then you grow into be a woman and then become a mother and you still have this trauma. And then you try to get into these relationships and you still have this trauma. And then you try to, say that you're okay, but you don't really have a safe space or haven't really let this stuff out to family members, or any of that. So I mean, how can you really be okay? And a lot of times these perpetrators are still walking around free.
I mean, it happens in families. An uncle or something. You didn't told everybody. Nobody wants to do anything about it, and you got to spend Christmases with the person that molested you.
So that's one of the things that needs to be kind of like highlighted in the black community, and needs to be something that we talk more about.
Like, think about how they shun the teenage pregnancy and they'll hide that and send them off and do this, but then they'll protect the molester.
Yep. Think about all these kids that's not the child of the father. They're the child of the molester. They're the child.
Oh, yeah.
See what I'm
They
saying?
give birth to.
They give birth to their molester.
I saw that on
It's
TikTok
children.
the other day. This girl was saying her daughter was like 9 or 10. And I guess she started asking about her dad and stuff like that, but she found out that she finally told the daughter, not in some sense of like I dislike you, but this is just, let's get it out now and go to therapy and deal with it now before it comes out later and becomes a thing. So she was talking about that and, how she always expressed to her daughter that she loves her and, all these different things. And, they're just dealing with it in therapy. And I think when you ask where's the safe space, like it begins in therapy. And the sooner the better. So if it's your child is 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever, there's therapy for children. And so the best thing to do is to start now. And they probably will be in therapy for a while, but it's better for them to grow through it now than to, deal with it as an adult.
Yeah.
Right. And it's a real issue, man. If you say 97%, that these young girls are being touched for under the
It's not just young girls; it's people like 90%.
Boys, too.
Yes,
boys and girls.
because that's the part that we don't talk about is the amount of boys that are molested by women.
Yep.
Yep, that too.
Yes.
That too. But the thing is, you know, where's the safe space at? Where's the spot where they can talk and tell what happened, and then not have to go back into that environment?
Well,
see what I'm saying?
You have to,
without them having to be put into a foster home,
right?
Or
you have to hope,
deal with the state.
Well, it depends on the parents
Yeah,
and their
you have
capacity.
to hope that the
Well, that's what I'm saying. The parents, some of the parents know what's going on.
right.
Some of the parents sweep this stuff under the rug.
Yes, because that parent, it is women. I thought it was everybody, but it's women. If 97% of women have been molested, then mother probably has been too. And so she's going to deal with it in the same way that it was dealt with her. Like we were talking the other day. In a black community especially, and this just doesn't happen in the black community, but we parent from what we are taught. Great metaphor or another example. Most people can't drive because they learn how to drive. They can't drive legally by the book. They don't know how the legal way to drive because they didn't learn the legal way. They learned how grandpa did it. They learned how grandma did it. But no one ever say, let's look at the book and what's the legal way to know how to drive. Same way with parenting. Most parents aren't reading a parenting book, or people buy them, but are they actually reading and taking notes and implementing and taking the classes and doing? For the most part, people parent from how they were parented.
Yes.
It didn't kill me. It might have been hard. I hated it, but it didn't kill me. So I'm going to do this.
So how does a parent teach their children how to open up or communicate?
The parent needs to talk to their kids.
But if you've been through the trauma yourself,
Then you
need to do it in therapy.
How do you do that?
You have to go to therapy.
What if the parent isn't willing to see? We say this stuff like it's so easy and it's like it's something that these people will do, even though that's something that we know that needs to be done. How many people are actually going to therapy?
A lot of people don't go, but you're asking what it is. Just because they're not doing it, that doesn't mean that's not the solution. It just means they're not doing it. It's like saying.
So that's what I'm saying.
It's like saying
how do you get them to do it?
The same way you get a fat person to go lose weight.
How you do that?
You know what I'm saying? At the end
put
of the
a carrot in their face?
No.
What do you do?
Honestly,
jelly beans?
In real honestly, you have to get they have to get sick and tired of being sick and tired. Yeah. Because the healing journey.
I don't think that's the case with
no,
these
because
women.
the healing
I think
journey.
that they don't like to go back through this pain.
It's very
and
painful.
then being I don't think they like to be embarrassed. I don't think they like to be shamed. I don't think that they'll think people, somebody will want them after they find this stuff out. I think that they will be disowned from probably some of these families. And because you got to think about it, that's grandma's son that you're talking about. That's grandma's auntie.
All of that.
You see what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. That's the unfortunate part. But
it's grandma's daughter.
It does. That's what I'm saying. It does. And healing comes with cutting some people off.
Then you got people in the family that will, you know what I'm saying, that's totally against that stuff and will probably try to hurt these people.
So this is the thing. When it comes to your healing journey, it's your journey.
Right.
You can't find healing from anyone else. So regardless of how someone else responds, like if you confront a person and you say, hey, you did this to me, or I remember you touched me, or you did blah, 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 blah. It's about you getting that out and confronting them. It's not about their response. You can't control their response. You can only control what you say and getting it out and that release. And so people have to look at it. It's just like the whole thing with having a breakup and you're seeking closure.
Sometimes
are you really getting closure?
You're not going to get closure.
So at the end of the day, it's one of those things where you have to take control of your own healing and don't allow it to depend on someone else. And that's what we do. We give someone else the power
exactly.
over our healing. And
we give somebody else the power over our healing.
We give someone else the power over our healing because we'll sit and we'll wait and wait and wait. Oh, this person didn't tell me. They didn't apologize.
Right.
We didn't have this last conversation about why. Does it really matter? At the end of the day, you have to take your healing. You have to take control of your own healing. Regardless if the person ever apologized. Regardless if they ever acknowledge that they hurt you. You have to heal in spite of what that person's actions are. Because some people will never give you the closure. Some people will never apologize. Does that mean you're supposed to walk around broken? No. You have to take control of your healing.
Okay, so that sounds real good, and that sounds like you're a strong black woman, Paige, but it's a lot of weak ones out there.
It's not about being a strong black woman.
It ain't. They're not gonna do that.
No, but
they
not
just won't
about
do
being
it,
a strong black woman.
and then they will wonder why things aren't working in their lives. This is a problem, though, don't you think? Because that's toxic.
That way, then.
It's toxic. It's a toxic thing that goes on in our culture.
It is.
You see what I'm saying?
Is. But
And
you have to take control of it. Like, it's up to
you. You have to take control of.
You have to take control of you. How you respond, how you react, how you cope. That takes time.
It
does. But that's why I say healing doesn't happen overnight.
That's why but you can't. Okay, so you saying they need to heal, right? That means they don't need to be in relationships. It's a lot of women or men, because men have been molested too.
Yes.
That don't realize that it takes time for them to get in a position where they can be healthy enough to be in a healthy relationship and be able to love healthy too, and know what healthy love is, know what healthy caring is, because a lot of times these people feel like they were in. Like they had no control.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
And now at the time,
but all they want now,
control now.
All they want now is control.
Well,
you see what I'm saying?
Healing
But
is part of the
different
control, though.
But it's a different kind of control. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They want control of the person, like the person had control of them. They don't want to control themselves. They don't want to have the power over themselves like they want to have over somebody else. You see what I'm saying? So
they go through some healing, then
that's what I'm telling you. You still have to think. You still got to think about that. These people have. That's what they've been taught to be the one that's always in control. So.
Yeah, because their experience has shaped them. It's one of those things where it's like, I didn't have control of this situation. I'll never lose control again. I'll always be control of everything else. That's a trauma response. I won't necessarily say that you have to be 100% healed before going into a relationship, because some people get the rest of their healing in a relationship depending on who you're with. What happens is we often form trauma bonds with other people. And so we get into relationships with people who have similar traumas than we are. So that is where the toxicity comes, because neither one of us can teach the other how to love or how to respond or how to do, because we're both broken people. However, if you get into a relationship with a person that is healed, patient, understand triggers, understand traumas, and you're at a place where you at least have begun therapy and you at least know what your triggers are, and that person can help you work through it. It can work. Doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but no relationship is easy. It can work, but there has to be a basic understanding. But oftentimes we form trauma bonds with people, and then, like, for instance, a person with daddy issues would typically get with a person with mama issues. Because we're fulfilling the role of the thing that we're missing.
Right.
And if you haven't acknowledged that, I have daddy issues, I have mother issues, you're going to keep attracting those people, or not attracting, accepting those people into your life. So we have to understand the difference between a trauma bond and a healthy relationship. Just because a person understands you and what you've gone through because they've been in the same experience, it doesn't mean it's going to be the greatest relationship with that person. You have to know where they are in their healing journey. And if they aren't in therapy, if they don't understand their own triggers, if they haven't delved deep into the traumas in their life, don't get in a relationship with that person. You can be that person's friend, but don't get in a relationship with them. However, like I said, if you meet someone who is at a different place, if they're on a different place in their healing journey and they can show you some things and teach you some things, I also recommend to take your time, but that can work. It just doesn't work when two broken people are trying to become whole.
Right. And with that, we will take a break. We'll be back in 5.
You're listening to Power Plug Radio, home of your throwback jams.
Did you know that June is Black Music Appreciation Month?
Follow Power Plug Radio on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter as we share the times that black music changed the world.
And don't forget to tune in to Power Plug Radio, home of your throwback jams.
There are 5 ways to listen.
You can catch a live show on Facebook.
You can download the Power Plug Radio app in your Apple Store or in Google Play.
Or simply just tell Alexa to play Power Plug Radio.
You can also visit our website at www.powerplugradio.com.
And make sure you tune in and subscribe to Power Plug Radio YouTube channel.
listening to Power Plug Radio. Home of your throwback jams.
All right. And we are back. We were just talking about some solutions to some of these problems. I just think it's very difficult and hard for, anybody with these types of these traumas, that we go through in life as children and as teenagers through adolescence, all the way up until we, 21 and above. It's a lot of things in our community that we're missing. We're missing a lot of safe spaces. There's not a lot of people that can come to rescue these innocent children. The police have their hands tied majority of the times because, who wants to really take a child from a family, right? But then at the end of the day, sometimes, we're not being accountable, as parents. And that goes for fathers and mothers. We're not being accountable. We're not looking ourselves in the mirror and being accountable for the choices that we're making with the people that we're, allowing to be in the presence of our children. We're not doing our homework. We're not doing the research. And we're definitely not testing anyone to the point to where, you can, or not even testing, we're not putting these people on trial, right? We're not calling these people out because we don't want our families to look a certain kind of way. We don't want our grandmother to be mad because her son or her daughter is molesting a nephew or a niece or a cousin or or any person, any child or any adult, right? So a lot of times, right, when you're looking at these women and they're young and they're having these kids, they're not doing it just because they new to it. They're doing it because it's something that they've been already, shown. You have all types of influence out here, and some of the things that we don't talk about is what types of influence do we have around our children, right? Mm-hmm. Especially our girls, mothers, single moms. It's hard as a single mom out here. I can see that. It's hard for us to find, good relationships, good people to settle down with, and trustworthy people, that we can trust to be good, decent people.
Yeah.
I agree.
Sometimes, you really have to really be diligent in your search because again, we looking for stuff and sometimes we're quick to act, and not quick to step back and look deeper into the individuals that we're getting involved with. It's one of the things that really pisses me off when I hear about some of these stories is the fact that people say that, some of the, kids or, people that have been molested, I've heard stories and, watched a lot of documentaries on this type of stuff, is that, when somebody comes to them, when they go and tell someone, right, the biggest thing is that a person doesn't believe them, or they're, it's just hard to believe that would happen in their home or their presence or their house or whatever, or it will happen with the person that the parent is with, right, or is in love with. What do you do, right? What do these kids do when an adult that is supposed to be the protector decides to look at you and not believe you?
Well, I would hope, and I know this may not apply to every person, but I would hope that they can go to another parent or another figure in their life, like a grandmother, an aunt, an uncle. I would hope that if they could not get the response or the support from their parent, that they could go somewhere else and get the support. That's my hope. That's not always the case. But that will be my hope.
But then again, we're talking about safe spaces again, right?
Right.
There's not a lot of, honestly, in Black households, there's not many safe spaces, if any.
What is that? And what does that look like?
What a safe space? To me, a safe space is when you are able to express your thoughts and your feelings in a healthy manner without being judged or disciplined or punished for saying how you're feeling and not being dismissed either.
Right.
Because how many people are very open about their anxiety or depression and they're told to go lay down and take a nap? Go pray about it. You don't have Jesus
You'll
in your
be
life.
all right.
It's one of those things where
I thought that was the all in all, the almighty cure.
to me, I'm a fan of therapy and Jesus.
So therapy and prayer would go together.
Because the way that I see it is, Jesus made the therapist to help me in real time, help me with my emotions, and he helps me spiritually.
Okay.
My just like he sends the doctors to help us physically, but he can heal us too. Same thing with a therapist, in my opinion.
And we will get back into safe spaces when we return after the break. We'll be right back at 9.
You're listening to Power Plug Radio, home of your throwback jams.
See, baby, I've been thinking about it, yeah. And I've been wanting to get next to you, baby. You see, sometimes I fool moms, I say, oh, baby, needing you has proven to me to be my greatest dream, yeah.
All right, and we are back talking about safe spaces.
All right, y'all. Yeah, safe space, safe space. This is a great conversation because Minority Mental Health Month starts in July, so Friday. So this is a great conversation to kick this off.
Yeah.
Kick it off,
So
y'all.
we're talking about safe spaces. It's very important. I remember I hosted an event a while ago, and I posted I hosted an event a while ago, like when I first started Be Your Best You, and it was a salon talk, and we talked about like our hair and like how it shapes our self-esteem, our life, and how it affects our mental health. And one of the things that we talked about was this concept of having your scalp greased, right? So oftentimes you're sitting between someone's legs and, like you're laying on their lap while they grease your scalp. That's a very vulnerable place. A lot of very tough conversations happen during those moments. A lot of growth happened, even bonding happened during those moments. And so we were saying finding those people that can be your scalp greasing friends, your scalp greasing family members, while they may not, figuratively grease your scalp, you can lie your head on their lap and have that level of vulnerability with them.
Right.
And
That's
so when
good.
I think of safe space, I think of scalp greasing friends.
That's actually pretty good. I like that.
Scalp greasing.
Hey.
Because, think about it. That was my favorite thing. I love having my scalp greased. It's just a very vulnerable time. You fall asleep.
You're
or you have
relaxed.
like you learn stuff from grandma or auntie or whoever was doing it. Like, it's just, that to me was always my favorite
Like
thing.
a bonding. Period.
Well, let's talk about it. A safe space for women and girls is a place where women and girls can go to at any time to feel safer and empowered and have access to information, education, recreational activities, support, and services. Right? So if we say, if we look at this definition of a safe space, where would you say we have that in our communities for these girls to go?
Where would you say?
And where's the access to the information and education, right? And support services?
That has a huge issue in Pinellas County. I can say that from someone who has worked at, an organization that's like at the helm of resources. And that was always a community issue, is who is going to be the hub? Who is going to be the central hub? Now, 211, people give it a lot of flack, but when you look at who has the access to the most information, it is 211. Is the information updated all the time? No, but I think they have navigators who like call and get you to update your information and stuff like that. But there's also another local resource called Aunt Bertha, where you can like list resources in your zip code and things like that. But I also think when you talk about the Black community specifically, I think we need to have, our Black churches coming together, our Black nonprofits coming together to create a database and a list. You have some organizations, who, I guess, serve as that hub, but information is really important. So having the organization and structure to be able to house a information system.
Right.
And so I think a lot of people, let's see, that's the best way to say this in a very polite way, have good intentions, poor execution.
So let me ask you this, right? If there was is there a how they have these men homes or boys homes and things like that? Are these just runaways that go into these facilities or shelters, or are these kids that have been molested as well? Because again, a lot of times kids run away that may be being molested or abused or something like that at home. So I wonder if that has a connection, because again, a lot of times there aren't any. You don't see young girls. Well, you see girls running away. You see most of them, going to stay with maybe like a boyfriend or
they make
or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Because the mother kicks them out the house, or puts them out, or because they don't. She can't. It's that mother-daughter dynamic is very.
It's tough.
It's tough. It's a tough dynamic, and it's kind of like a father and son. The mom is more lenient on the boys than she is on the girl. Mm-hmm. And the girl is more rebellious, right? Because the boy doesn't really want to hurt mama or break mama's heart, right? So he hides a lot of stuff, but the girl is more rebellious. She will wear that makeup. She'll have that makeup in the locker at school. Mama say don't wear that stuff, and she got it on at the schoolhouse, ready to put it on. Mama say don't put that outfit on or wear that right there. She taking it in the book bag, going to put it on. You know what I'm saying? So how, what does how are they supposed to get through these types of atmospheres, these young girls? Like
molesting atmospheres, or just the toxic home?
The atmosphere itself.
I think
you see what I'm saying? How do you get out of that? Because again, you go to mentors and you get coaches, but then you still have to go back into that environment.
So
that's one of the questions that we talked about too.
Yes, I think mentors are very important, but not just mentors through programs. Mm-hmm. Mentors through programs, while it's needed, mm-hmm. I feel like for some, it's just a Band-Aid.
Right.
Because you have like the school system mentors. You can't interact with that child's family at all. Mm-hmm. That's dumb. It's 30 minutes a week.
Right.
And you can't interact with that child outside of school.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But that's when they need you most. Mm-hmm. It's outside of school. Mm-hmm. So, I think community mentors, like through the church and within your own family. An aunt and uncle can be a mentor to their child. Their nieces and nephews. But the thing is, we as family members, we as adults have to get to a better place of holding these parents accountable. As messy and ugly as it is, that's where it starts. Because if you know that your nieces and nephews are being abused, but you don't say anything,
right?
And you don't say anything, until it blows up and becomes a thing,
right?
You're just as guilty, because that child has been traumatized because you don't want to rock the boat. It's a messy situation. The boat is already being rocked. The water is already raging. So we as adults have to stop allowing kids to suffer because we don't want to rock the boat.
Yeah, people don't realize silence is just as deadly as a bullet.
It is. So at the end of the day, this is the thing. Mm-hmm. You have to be willing to confront your sister, your brother, your whatever, and deal with what those consequences look like.
That's right.
Because otherwise, you avoiding the situation is putting all of the stress on the child.
Or the spouse. Or the relationship. Because
what
again,
are you talking about?
Because
beyond
in
a child, you talking about future.
Oh, future.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we as adults have to do a better job of stepping up. To me, if me confronting you means you don't talk to me no more, I don't care. Right. I'm still going to confront you. And if I got to call the system on you,
people care.
I will call the system on you. Because having been in that situation, I'll be damned if I knowingly let another child go through that situation.
And that's what one of my biggest things is. when you know that this is something that has happened, how can you allow?
I'm not talking about molestation. I'm talking about abuse.
It don't matter.
Oh.
It doesn't matter what it is. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to
No,
this.
I'm just clarifying for my personal self.
Okay.
Right.
So that I'm not putting out there that, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, as far as any child that loses their innocence or is being abused in any type of way, the person that is doing it should be put under jail.
I agree.
Or put on death row or something.
But
You know
I
what I'm
also think one of the reasons why we're so afraid is a lack of understanding. We think that the system, the child welfare system's job is to separate the parents.
Right.
In reality, reunification is their top
It's always
priority
the goal.
because there is not enough foster parents and adoptive parents and group homes and orphanages to house the children.
Right.
So in reality, if the kids can stay within the home, they will do what it takes for the kids to stay within the home. If that means providing anger classes, parenting, childcare, whatever is going to make that parent, help that parent be a better parent. Right. Or they will find a family member that's competent and that child can go stay with that family member until the situation clears over. Child welfare's job, and it's not perfect by any means necessary,
not even close.
but child welfare exists to reunify the family, to strengthen the family, and not to break up the
separate it.
break up the family.
But people don't realize when you get into these child welfare cases, like you said, they're meant to reunite. And when you are able to reunite, they have classes to help you stay together.
Yeah, exactly. Because
They
that's the
have-
job. It's reunification. It's keeping the family intact. Because in reality, the system does not want to take care of your child.
No.
So oftentimes they give the kids back too soon because that's how much they want you to parent your child.
Right.
But at the same time, sometimes those children don't need to go back to that environment at all.
Absolutely not. But it takes us because listen, child welfare can only do what they can do.
Exactly.
So if parent, just like we talk about in relationships, we put that representative on. Oh yes, I went to all the classes and I learned everything, and I promise I won't do it again. But we, as the family members, see you busting that child upside the head.
Right.
So at the end of the day, we have to be willing to step up and say, no, that child don't need to come back here. They're not ready. And be willing, if you can't personally do it, have a family meeting and figure out who can take this child. And then, if I can't house the child, I can at least help with child care.
Right. Everybody should pull together. That's like in my situation, I have a couple of grandbabies and their mother made a really bad choice and went to jail. And my son is in no way, form, or fashion capable of raising 4 girls by himself. We know it. They know it. Everybody know it. And so the decision was we sat down with the family and said, okay, who can help out? Who can get them to school? Who can pay for the child care? Who can do this? Who can do that? And then we found someone that was capable of taking them full time with the help of the entire family. But it has to be a family discussion. It has to be, let's pull all our resources because he's not fit to be a parent right now, and it's for the betterment of the child. And I think that's what we're missing in this conversation. It's not about what the parents are comfortable with or what the uncle's comfortable with or whatever. It's about what's best for the child, period. And so if that child doesn't have an outlet, if that child doesn't have an advocate, and then child services has to be involved, the family needs to step up and step in and say, you know what, let's see what we can do to help the kid. And so, or kids, whatever, one, plural, singular. But I think that's a good point that we should make. And it's not happening. It's just not happening.
I mean, again, if somebody has to step in, right? This is another thing that, families and children and, have to deal with is the fact that, we don't want our secrets out in the public. We just don't want our business out in the public.
That's a generational thing.
And we just don't want to have our face or our name or our family looking like we're the bad family or we're the one that's dysfunctional or we're the ones that's, got our business, that's, we don't want that. So a lot of times, it's not discussed and it's not, talked about to the point to where, enough to where, again, these people, these women or these young boys feel comfortable, right? Coming out, even at church. How many pastors do you think have relationships with the children to the point to where they come up and tell them this type of information that's going on?
Because in most black churches, the pastor is untouchable. You got to go through so many different people and schedule an appointment
to see the pastor.
So at the end of the day, because pastor in most churches, not all, and most in the black church, we so hierarchical. We look at church like it's I don't
kingdom.
know. Yeah, exactly.
Like a kingdom.
And so the pastor is untouchable.
Yeah.
So how can the children ever get to the pastor or get the pastor's ear if you can't access the pastor without going through 2 or 3 people?
Right.
So no, they probably will talk to the youth leader or, the youth pastor or Sunday school teacher or something like that, which will then be relayed to the pastor. But then
how often is that talked about at church at all?
What? Oh, I don't know. It depends on what church you go to.
And that's the thing. Do we, at these churches, right, are these real issues talked about? Are real issues like this talked about in the church to the point to where they make it a safe space for people of the flock to come and talk to the shepherd?
It depends on the church.
You see what I'm saying?
It depends on the church. Like, seriously, like, that question can only be answered individually by each church. Because there are some churches who welcome mental health. Like, well, Pastor Stroman was here. Think about all the stuff they do. I would think that's a safe space where you could have these conversations.
Right.
But then some other churches you may not. So I think it's a church-by-church basis. Because younger pastors are, trying to better understand the community and the needs of the community. I think there's another one, Pastor Carlos. He has a master's in social work, so he understands this stuff. So these are things that are also talked about in his church. I taught mental health first aid at his church twice to help their members better respond to trauma and to mental health issues. So it really depends on the church.
Okay. Well, I think that, it has to go beyond the church. I think it has to start has to be regular conversations that we have, because again, what that does is it opens up the floodgates for people to start to confess and to come out with their testimonies. You know what I'm saying? And to really get something for what, because a lot of times people just don't think that, anything's going to happen to the perpetrator, right? When you don't believe anything can happen to them, when you don't think anything can be done.
That's what predators do. They program the abuser. They abuse them by saying, no one's going to believe you. So they're conditioned to actually believe that. So you're right.
And
that's the power over it.
And a lot of times these guys, will threaten these young kids with the fact that they'll
kill their mom,
hurt the parent.
Yep,
you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And if you say anything, that's what's going to happen.
Right.
So I can understand that there is fear, being put into some of these children.
Absolutely.
Especially
that's their power.
They'll threaten to kill the parent,
the mom, the dad, or your dog. Whatever they think you care about, just to keep you quiet.
Mm-hmm.
It happens every day, all day.
Yeah, it truly does.
And this is something that has to stop.
But this is why we have to have, we as the individual have to heal ourselves and face our own traumas, because what we're doing is we're repeating cycles.
Right.
Because we're not growing, we're not learning, so we're repeating cycles. So the onus is on you. Like they always say, when you're choosing a partner, your kids can't choose their parents, but you choose their father, or you choose the mother, right? So at the end of the day, the choices we make affect all the generations after us.
Right.
So I always say, hey, it stops with me.
Right.
That's it. All of this crap is done. Like, I don't care if I have to be in therapy for the rest of my life. If it's going to make me a better mom, a better whatever, then hey, I don't want my kids in therapy talking about me.
Right.
If I come up, I want them to be like, my mom loves me. She did the best. She's supportive. She's this, she's that. I don't want to be in therapy talking about, oh, my mama crazy. I don't want nothing to do with her. She the reason why I got all this trauma, this and that. I don't want that.
But it's out there.
But it is. And that's what I'm saying. But it's a self-evaluation. When we talk about how can we change, it starts with self.
Do we have any comments?
Actually, people are commenting about church, but not about the topic.
No, not about the topic itself. But yeah, so at the end of the day, it starts with self. You have to start the self-evaluation and stop walking around like you're okay, because you're not. If you're black, you have something to heal
we
from.
already have traumas just being black that are generational, that's been passed down in our DNA. I mean, that's a scientific fact that we carry, and I think that has a lot to do with the what stays in the house stays in the house. You don't tell people our business. You don't, Uncle so-and-so touched so-and-so. Well, we can't tell nobody. And because that's just a generational trauma that we experienced that's been passed down.
And that's actually criminal activity that's being allowed to happen in the family. Criminal activity. So people will lie about these things. They will keep secrets about these things. And then you will look at these people like they're the God's greatest gifts on earth.
Well, and
grandma holding secrets.
Oh, yeah.
Mama holding secrets.
I'm 100% sure that my grandmother went to her grave with secrets.
That's what I'm saying. And then
but I think it's changing. I think the conversation is changing though, because generationally we are getting closer and closer to being more transparent, getting the therapy, getting the help. I mean, I can say from the time that I grew up until now, like even when I was growing up, you were taught to suck it up.
Right.
You got depression. You don't feel good. Suck it up. This is part of the plight of being an African American woman. Accept it. So you can't have bad days. You can't stay home and cry. You got to get up, pull yourself by the bootstraps, and go get this money so you can pay these bills. So that's what I was conditioned to do. Right. And now that I have children that are in different generation, they're in their 20s and actually they're all in their 30s now. They are more sensitive and more aware of this is not right. This doesn't feel right. How do I get some help? I don't understand this. Why am I depressed? What do I need to do to change that? Where their mindset is totally different from mine. And I'm not forcing that on them. I'm not saying, oh, suck it up, get over it. It's just part of being black. No, I'm not doing that, because I realized in my walk how damaging that is for me. So I don't want to repeat that. So if they say, Mom, I'm hurting, I'm depressed. Okay, let's go find your therapist. Let's go find you someone you can talk to. Because you can talk to me as your parent, but I'm not licensed to give you good advice that you may need, because your problem may be bigger than me. So let's go find somebody to help you. So, but that takes a lot of like Paige said, that takes a lot of self-inventory. Why did you make the decisions that you made? How did that serve you? What could you have done better? Okay, now that you know, let's pass that on. And I think that is what we are responsible as adults in this society. You don't have to be a parent to notice that a child is hurting and not do anything. You don't have to be, you see what I'm saying? That our responsibility is, as an adult, we're supposed to take care of people who can't take care of themselves. And if you see someone being hurt or what have you, it is your responsibility as an adult to step in. It don't have nothing to do with family. It has nothing to do with nothing. If I live on a community and I see a child getting beat down in the middle of the street, I'm I'm supposed to get in my car and just drive away like it ain't nothing. But that's what we're doing, because now we're not doing the village. It takes a village to raise a child. Now it's not none of my problem. Ain't none of my child. I ain't getting involved. Blah, 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 blah. So that's what we have conditioned ourselves. That's what we are now, because I got enough trouble as it is. I got my own woes. I can't worry about everybody else. So I think that, that's what we are. But I feel like it's changing. It's changing. I see it change. I see my kids saying, hey, I need help, and they're getting the help. So,
and I think it's not only important for the adults to get help, but I see more people allowing their children to go to therapy. Because if you think about growing up, when you think about kids going to therapy, that's an affluent thing. Like, I think back to Moesha, and actually all those shows. Mm-hmm. All those shows had a stint where somebody had to go to therapy. We just weren't paying attention.
Right.
But I remember when Miles had to go to therapy, and the whole family had to go to therapy. But when you look at who they were, their lifestyle did not reflect many of ours.
No.
Right? You had a dad that's an entrepreneur, and a mom that, or a stepmom that, is a principal. Mm-hmm. And then they were able to pay for their daughter.
Right, they had resources.
Buy their daughter a brand new car. They're saying, so even though I feel like the goal was to try to start promoting this, and they're in California, so it's a little different, try to promote this, I still feel like we didn't catch it. Mm-mm. Because that's rich people stuff. Mm-hmm. So to now see,
because we thought they was rich.
Exactly.
Right.
They had more than us.
They did.
Right. So when you look at now that kids are going to therapy, and they're doing play therapy, and communities are, creating opportunities for kids to receive the therapy for free and things like that, our world is changing. Kids are what they call more social and emotionally intelligent. They're starting to promote that in schools as well. So oftentimes we as adults, we get upset, and we don't know how to convey what's wrong with us, because we were told to stay in a child's place, keep quiet, be seen, not heard, all these things. We were not taught to use our voice. Now kids are being taught to use their voice. They're being taught to understand
themselves,
what they're feeling. I was watching something, a little baby was just having a whole meltdown. And mom just really got down on her level and walked her through where she was feeling. She was like, are you hungry? And the baby's like, no. I think the child was like 1 or 2. And then she's like, are you sleepy? And the baby's like shaking her head. And she's like, well, if you're sleepy, just say you're sleepy, or grab my hand, or do this. Like, she's like explaining it to her. I don't know how much the baby understood, but it's having those conversations, it's explaining what's happening. She's one lady said her 6-year-old was just being a brat to her, crying and kicking her and screaming with her, and she, like, instead of whooping her, she sat down with her and said, what's wrong? Why are you being so mean today? And the little girl just started crying. I was like, I don't know. And the mom was like, well, it's okay to not be okay, but this is not how we respond to it. Next time you're feeling this way, just tell me and we can work through it. So it's teaching kids, it's validating their feelings, and teaching them how to say when they're not okay. And how to channel that energy that they're feeling into words and not action.
And into therapy, into techniques that can help them process what they're feeling. Because I feel like as a Black community, we just beat our kids.
Yeah, that's it.
What's the technique? Give me some examples.
Talking to them, teaching them how to use their words. Like, my nephew had a whole meltdown in Wendy's one day. And for the most part, most people would take him in the bathroom and whoop him because he was having a meltdown. I didn't do that. He's like crying. And I was like, Micah, I don't understand tears. Like, you have to tell me what's wrong. I can't help you if you don't use your words and tell me what's wrong.
Then you can cry.
I mean, it's okay to cry, but let's find out.
And not one time did I tell him to stop crying.
Right.
It was trying to understand why he was crying.
And I told him to understand somebody.
And I told him, in order for me to help you or to fix it, you have to explain to me what's wrong, because I don't understand crying.
Right. So,
and in reality, he was just embarrassed because he was stuffing all these chicken nuggets in his mouth. And I told him to stop doing that before he choked. And so he just felt embarrassed. And so we just had to work through that moment.
He was embarrassed. What?
Yeah, because she made him feel bad in the ring.
I mean, it wasn't on purpose.
No,
it was just
Soft little boys.
no. Actually, it's not being soft. It's actually
cried 'cause you told him
they're
to
going
stop
to grow up to be better men.
What?
Because they're in touch with their feelings.
Okay.
They're going to grow up to be better men because they're being taught to understand their feelings. They're being taught that it's okay to cry.
Boys are taught not to cry. Boys
So
are taught
they're
to
going
be
to
hard.
be better husbands and
how does
better
that help?
fathers.
How does that help? Then that's why men can't express themselves because they weren't allowed to ever.
Do you think? No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say another reason why kids act out too is that there really is something going on. Like that's the only way they can get your attention without telling you. I have a granddaughter that's 12 and she started just out of the blue just acting out. Like, what the freak is happening? And, and I had the conversation. I said, Janiyah, what's going on? And she's like, they just get on my nerves. And then, a couple weeks later, we just thought, okay, she was just having a moment. And then a couple weeks later, I don't want to be here. What do you do when a 12-year-old tells you they don't want to be here? Wow. You get them therapy. Because what you're telling them and what you're showing them and the praying and all that, it ain't working.
It ain't working.
You need someone professional to step in and have a conversation. She's lashing out because she misses her mother.
Right.
Right? So I think we have to stop being so consumed about what's not right in our world and pay attention to these kids when they're acting out. There is a reason.
But I think also it's like we punish the kids for being here. Oftentimes you're upset because the kids didn't maybe come from within the situation that you want. And this is for married or unmarried people or single or non-single parents. And, the child, I always say the child didn't ask to be here.
Right.
So whatever it is that you're feeling or going through, you have to put that aside because the child did not ask to be here. You brought this child here. Whatever the situation is, the child is here.
Period.
And they should not feel unwanted or feel like, maybe I shouldn't be here because y'all don't want me here. So this whole children should be seen, not heard, go play, go do this. What is the point of having a kid and you never want to interact with them? What having them for? What you having for? How many people let things and other people raise their kids? How many people just don't?
Either that or to keep the man or they were in a relationship. They was in la love and he was married. I mean,
never about a real baby coming into the world.
But even regardless of what it is,
but they're here though. But they're here though.
But the worst thing is when I see parents dismiss kids. Oh, go find something to do. Do something. It's one thing if you give that child the attention they need and they still doing the most. But it's one thing anytime that child want to love on you or kiss on you or this type of stuff, even if you're not that person, that's how that child receives love. So in the same way in our relationships, we have to give love in the way that people receive it. We have to give love in the way our children receive it. And child number 1 may not want you to touch you at all. Right. Child number 2 may want to cuddle with you and lay with you and stuff like that. You brought that kid into the world. Right. You got to figure out how to love that child through that. But don't deny them that because, I don't like to be touched. I'm not a touchy-feely person. Well, you became a parent, so you better get through it.
You better get through it. Do you think it's a good idea for people to let the world know that, this has happened? So would you wear a shirt that says, I was molested or I was abused and I overcame?
I mean, if that empowers them, then yes.
It's up to you. I think that's a case by case basis.
Yeah, that's an individual
thing. It's just where you are because it could be that you're totally healed, but you just don't want to wear that as a badge of honor because that's the thing. I think we the
overcoming part is the badge.
Well, yeah, but at the end of the day, I think oftentimes we're so quick to label ourselves as something, and
as what? An overcomer?
Well, then just say
survivor.
I'm an overcomer.
I'm a survivor.
So, but that's what you lead with. I'm an overcomer. I'm a survivor. I'm this. I'm that. Because it's like in the same way that you're saying I am this, and then you turn it around but I'm this. Sometimes you don't have to have that. I mean, are these conversations great? Yes, but I just feel like it's up to the person to to label themselves how they would like.
It's the comfort level, and I mean, that might just work for them, right? Because you have to understand when someone's molested, it's a shame associated with it. And wearing the shirt saying that I was molested, but I overcame, it's more of I am going to identify the shame and say that I'm past that. So like I said, that's the individual situation.
Right.
You know, I commend anybody that will wear a shirt. Like I would be like, that's awesome. You know, I don't see anything wrong with that. And everybody's therapy is not going to look the same because everybody's not the same. And so if that's therapeutic for the person who's wearing it, kudos to them.
If they think that, you know, it's I'm gonna wear it to inspire, but I think it's just up to the person. Like I don't think you should be forced to wear it or told not to wear it. You wear
it
what
might
you
be
wear.
good to spark a conversation. You never know.
To wear anything.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it could spark a conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
It's definitely.
But also, though, I feel like in wearing that, just being prepared to have that conversation with multiple people.
Yes, because people are going to talk
or be prepared to not get the response that you're expecting.
Right.
Because wearing a shirt like that, the overcomer part is at the bottom. And so when you talk about content and how people take in content, the most important stuff is at the top.
Yep. Well, you can put that at the top.
And they don't.
You could put I'm the overcomer. I was molested.
So you switch it. But that's what I'm saying. You switch it because you could end up getting the other response of pity and not
empowerment.
Applause. Yes. So,
because I would think that would be the reason of wearing the shirt.
Yes, exactly. Because you want people to be like,
that
yes,
I'm an overcomer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the thing is, I would say if you're gonna wear that shirt, don't have any expectations.
Yeah.
Of how people are gonna respond, because everybody may not respond or interpret it in the same way that you, and be prepared that it could trigger someone who has been molested, who has not
overcame it.
Yep. Exactly.
Yep. So it could trigger someone for you wearing a shirt, just like Make America Great Again triggers.
Absolutely.
Yes,
no, but that's what I'm saying. But when you wear that shirt, you need to be prepared. All I'm saying is, it sounds like a great idea, and I'm not knocking it.
Right.
But be prepared for the different responses that you may get for wearing that shirt.
Right,
because even I have a Team Jesus shirt,
and
every time I wear that shirt, I prepare myself to get a negative response from atheists or trollers. Every time I wear that shirt, I feel like I'm on a heightened level, and because I'm prepared for the negative response.
Well, I mean, and that's even when we wear our badge of honor of being black.
Yeah,
that offends people.
Exactly,
and you got to be ready for that. I mean, because sometimes I travel with certain shirts. I do it on purpose, actually.
And
but
be ready for the response.
I'm ready because I'm ready. I want to have the conversation with you. I want you to approach me and feel comfortable in asking questions so I can answer those questions for you. But again, like she said, you got to be ready when you wear it. That's it.
Yeah, just be prepared.
Wow, this is a good conversation.
Just play potato. But I just think, all in all, it's in order to, when we talk about how do we change our community, community change starts with us, and a lot of it starts within the family. Changing the family, changing the mindset, changing us individually will result in a change in our community.
That's all you have control over, really, to be honest, is yourself, and what you are willing to step out of your comfort zone to say, you know, hey, enough's enough. We need to address this. Yeah, and that's where it starts. Because what else can you do?
It's kind of like a predator's fragility. Predator, anyway.
What's the difference?
What I'm saying, like, they can't handle
the discomfort.
Yeah. Well, you better get over it, sir, because you don't get to be fragile.
You have a problem and you need to go.
But then also, I say that all in saying that we also have to have some type of pity for the predator too.
Of course, because obviously they were a victim at one point.
To understand where that comes from. So oftentimes predators become predators because it has become normalized in their world. You know, and so
that's why you hang them.
Yeah, we say hurt people.
That's why you hang them and you.
I'm not gonna lie.
You get it out of them. Just like they did the black people. They put all the fear
Not
in
hang
us.
'em.
They put all the fear in us, right? From slavery when they were selling parents and kids and uncles and brothers and cousins, and then you couldn't even cry if this happened.
No, you get whipped.
You get whipped.
That's what I'm saying.
You can't- you was dehumanized.
We have to identify where it came from.
So this is,
See?
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, because
A lot
we
of
got to
people-
confront the predator and the predator's predator and the
Yep.
predator's predator if they still
Exactly.
alive.
Yep.
There's a lot that you have to be ready for when you start to try to confront those things in your family, because everybody is not going to like it. They're not
Or
going to respond the
receive it.
same. They're
Yeah.
not going to receive it. So when you wake up and you decide, I'm going to be a generational curse breaker in this family,
gonna lose
you're
some
probably
people.
not going to be liked in the family.
That's okay.
You're probably going to be
Right.
the black sheep of the family, but it's okay.
That means you're gonna be the hero.
Exactly.
family.
Exactly.
People don't realize that. You know what I'm saying? You're basically, having courage and the brave, to stand up for what's right and stop something.
And that's
You know what I'm
why I
saying?
always
and
get
that's what a
tickled.
hero is. You know what I mean? Making the tough decisions.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And
Being
that's
the
what-
sacrifice.
And the sacrifice sometimes. That's that too. But making the tough decisions.
I mean, I always think about it
Because-
I always have to go Bible. Jesus, everybody didn't accept Jesus.
No,
He was like the black sheep for the most part. If you look at his people, not Christians, but his people, he was the black sheep. People didn't accept him. But what do we remember him for? His sacrifice. And his sacrifice changed all of our lives.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just I'm just saying this. We're having this conversation because there's one story out there that could change lives forever. That could change the way the world, sees this, because we don't realize that it's over 500,000 girls being taken every single year because parents are lousy and don't want these kids.
And
know,
to me,
and
I feel
having
like
babies just to have 'em.
in 2021, if you're still getting pregnant, it's because you want to be.
It's way.
There's too much free birth control.
Too much stuff
Plan
out
B
there.
is now over the counter, right? So at the end of the day, you don't even have to get to the place of getting an abortion. Because for some people, abortion was their only way out.
Exactly.
But at the end of the day, you don't even have to get there. But even if I'm not a proponent of abortion, but even if you found out a little bit later than the plan B, then at the end of the day, you still have options. Don't bring kids into this world that you don't want.
Or that
Because you have options.
No, people bring kids into the world wanting the child, but not knowing how much it's going to take care of the child, or how much time is going to be
Well, that's
consumed.
every parent, even parents who plan. I mean, you can't plan to know how much time you're going to need or what time. We don't know what kind of kid we're going to have. I had 3 kids. My last one was a lot of work. Right? So every kid has his own woes and characteristics, and you have to learn to be very, flexible on your parenting for them to respond. I don't think we will ever have, you won't ever have enough money. You won't ever have enough knowledge. You won't ever. It's an ongoing, changing, evolving, learning experience. It's just that you need to be open, honest. You need to create that space for your kid to be, to be able to communicate with you. It's changing the way we just say status quo. Why is this happening? What are the reasons? What can we do to change it? And not just be like, oh, that's just the way it is. So it's a mindset. And I don't think you'll ever just be totally like, I'm ready to be a parent, because parenting is an ever-changing, evolving situation, right? We all know that. You can go in there with every best intentions, and like I said, have a kid that is, finding out that he was just so smart, he was getting to work, and then once he got to work, he just was showing off because he ain't had nothing else to do. But how would I know that unless I did the investigating, unless I asked the questions, unless I put them in therapy to figure that out? So you can be prepared, but you can't totally be prepared.
It's like starting a business. You don't know what you're going to get in.
No, ma'am.
You hear everybody saying this is going to do blah, blah, blah. But what they say, prepare for the worst, hope for the best. Prepare for the worst, plan for the best. That's your best bet when it comes to parenting, because it's so many variables that you don't know. But I think what happens is people go in expecting the absolute best. They never plan for the worst, and then they get disappointed
and
when it doesn't meet their expectations.
I don't know how to do this.
So because your 16s and pregnants and all of these different shows, they glorify parenting, and all these shows and things glorify parenting, but a lot of people don't look at the ugly side of parenting. And so to me, if you're going to make the conscious decision to have a child, you need to be fully informed. And so prepare for the absolute worst, because you could have a child that has special needs, medical needs. Yeah. Are you what's going to happen if that happens? So those are things that you need to think about. And then people act like, what pisses me off most is people act like even getting pregnant and having the baby literally happens overnight. You have 9 months to mentally prepare yourself. Even if the first 3 you're in denial, you still got 6 months to mentally prepare. So stop acting like you getting pregnant and then having the baby.
Shock.
Exactly. It's the shock of your life. You have time to prepare to be a parent.
It's no excuse.
I'm sorry, but I'm sick of it. It pisses me off so bad when people sit and treat kids that didn't ask to be here like they don't need to be here when you brought them here.
Well, you got to think, kids having kids is one of the problems that we having. Kids having kids.
But you know what though? The numbers are low now.
The numbers are very low.
So that's not even the case anymore.
It's very low. Teen pregnancy is very low.
And it's on a real low for African Americans.
It wasn't low 5 years ago.
That's 5 years ago. But
we're talking about right now.
Right now, teen pregnancy with African American kids are not happening as often.
Look at what you have going on. It wasn't going on 10 years ago. And look what you got going on right now. You got these kids that were born 5, 10, 15 years ago. That's out here in these streets right now, hungry, nowhere to go, no guidance, no nothing. And they out here going to Polk County, committing robberies, burglaries, trying to kill people because they ain't got nothing to do. They ain't learned nothing else but how to come out here and mess up their life. So, well,
that's because the parents are not engaging
that's
in their life.
That's because the community doesn't have a damn thing.
But it starts with the parents.
No. This bigger than the parents now. This bigger than parents. So the parents, okay, yeah, but this what the community does not have. We don't have anything for these kids to do. We don't have anything. Needs to give
them something to do. Let me tell you something. When I was growing up, my mother took me to work.
They go with the time. Again.
No, I don't agree with that.
I don't agree either because there are programs. The parent needs to seek out these situations for the kids.
That's community.
What the kids can do.
That's community, ain't it?
There's still a YMCA.
The thing about
there's still Girl Scouts. There's still Boy Scouts. There's still. I'm sorry. There's so many things that parents can research and find out.
I'm talking about fun things.
What you mean fun? They gonna play ball. They take classes.
But classes for what? Basketball,
football.
No. I'm talking about activities. No. There's no activity.
Okay, give me an example of an activity that a child couldn't get into.
Ain't nothing over here to do.
Let me tell you.
Where you taking your kid at tomorrow?
My aunt used to take us on field trips all the time. She used to take us to the park. We used to make kites. We used to make projects. We used to set up our lemonade.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It starts with the parents. Exactly. And you can't put it on the community if the parent is not. No, you can't, because think about this.
Communities are parents too.
All the parents felt the same way that Paige and I are talking about, then there will be a forced community activities put together in the community.
Parents know that their children don't have a damn thing to do.
Okay, do you know how many? But do you know how many parents could
let me tell you, make a baby?
No, do you know how many parents could have this same
conversation? Sneak over to the boyfriend house
and say if the community if the parents get tired enough of not having something for their kids,
they would do
all these free parks. They could get together and say, "Hey, let's do a field day for our kids. Let's plan activities for our kids. This parent today, you take them on a field trip. This week, this parent, the day you take them on a field trip, you create your reality.
We got to stop We gotta stop.
We gotta stop complaining about what's ain't there.
And you can do that, but
We gotta stop.
stuff.
We gotta stop having babies with friends and cousins and brothers, because that's another thing that happens too. And then you have shootouts around here. You know what I'm saying? Because this girl got her legs open for half the city, and she want to have a baby with so and so.
What does that have to do with the community being?
Because you got community legs out here.
All right.
You know what I'm saying?
With that being said, y'all
gotta
have a
close
great
these
day.
legs.
We'll see you on Friday.
You're listening to Power Plug Radio, home of your throwback jams.
Whose world is this? The world is yours. The world is yours. It's mine, it's mine, it's mine. Whose world is this? It's yours. It's mine, it's mine, it's mine. Whose world is this? The world is yours. The world is yours. It's mine, it's mine, it's mine. I sip the Don P, watching Gandhi till I'm charged and writing in my book of rhymes. All the words past the margin. The whole of mic I'm throbbing. Mechanical movement, understandable smooth.